Welcome everybody. Today we're going to chat about the pivoting swivel footplate that comes on some rowing machines like this one. So there were some questions about benefits, pros, cons of these, so we're going to go over them. So we're going to get started in a second, but please hit that subscribe button, click that thumbs up, and click for notifications if you want to be notified when new videos like this one come out. Also, feel free to always ask your questions about rowing and injury prevention, and I will make a video for you, kind of like this one. But usually I'm on the rowing machine. All right, so we're going to dive in. So this is the Prorower RX750 water rower by H2O Fitness. It was just the first one I found when searching for a swiveling footplate. So nothing special about this one. It's just what we're looking at. So what I wanted to show you is if you look at the foot right here, see how like the foot plate moves up and down? So that's what we're chatting about in this video. So we're going to start with the pros of this. All right, so pro is if you don't have a lot of ankle mobility. So when you bring your ankle back up towards you, when we're at that front catch position, we really have to get our ankle and our shin kind of closer together. This allows, if you don't have a lot of that ankle motion, let's say you have a fused ankle or you just don't have a lot of mobility, which surprisingly a lot of people don't, this can make it a little bit more comfortable, especially if you're getting like a pinching in the front of that ankle, like right through here when you're rowing. So if you notice, when she gets in this position, her ankle position really hasn't changed that much as she goes. So it pretty much, it stays in kind of neutral and goes to neutral, and the foot plate is just moving with her, so you don't have to have that ankle mobility, which is fantastic for some people. So that is a huge pro if you are a person who really just is uncomfortable in the ankle and you know you're not going to be able to work on that mobility and you're just looking for something like that. Another kind of comfortable thing for it is basically when, let me find a little bit of a better spot, but when you're moving the foot, you're kind of able to put more even pressure throughout your foot. Check out the video that I've got linked right up above, and I'll put it in the description below as well, on where you should kind of be pushing ideally when you're rowing, where you should be pushing on your foot, like what part of your foot. So definitely check that out. But this allows for a little bit more of that evenness for you to be able to put pressure through this whole portion as you are going through the stroke, because your heels are never leaving at all. So that's one of the benefits. So that's two of the benefits. So those are the main benefits that I see personally for my quick overview. When it comes to cons, there's a couple as well. So if we go back to kind of the beginning position, when she is in this catch position, you'll see she's not really leaning forward, which of course we want that hip hinge. We want to be able to get a little bit out of that purely upright position. But if you look at her knees, they're really, really far forward. So it's easier for her to get into this really, really forward position, which if you take that position and you think of that in like a squat. So check out the video that I'll have here as well for how the squat is really similar to rowing, and things that you might do in your squat that you might want to think about when you're rowing and how it contributes. But if you think of this like a squat, that's a really hard position to get out of that squat from. So here, she's not really able to, I mean, her feet are so parallel to the floor that when she pushes at all, the first thing that's happening is she's literally just changing the position of the foot plate. But if you look at where that pressure would go, it would go upwards, which is the opposite. We want to go backwards, not upwards when it comes to rowing. So for all of that initial power is going to go to literally just changing the position of the stroke, which is a little bit harder to kind of do and a little bit more difficult for your body to kind of understand. And you're going to lose a little bit of power because you're not going to be really pushing until it's a little bit more like in that position, which is already kind of halfway through the stroke. This is where she would start to really push with her legs. So it's changing where the power is coming from. When you're in the front position, she's not going to have a lot of power. She's pretty much not going to do anything. She's just gently pushing to get to here and then exploding. So you've lost a lot of your drive power. So that's kind of one of the cons. The other con is the hip position. She's not really getting that forward and backward hinge. Of course, we know that when people demo rowing, especially for machines, they're not often doing it with a lot of skill and a lot of technique. So that could just be something that she hasn't learned anyway, and something that like you might be trying to learn. So I'm not going to fault you for that, but it does make it harder for you to be able to get that forward hip position if your knees are going so far forward. This can also put a lot more stress on the knees and the hips because you're in a scrunched up position that you're then trying to explode and get out of. And again, you're not able to explode as much, so it'll be a little bit gentler, but it's still a difficult position for you to get into. And if you have any hip or knee things, this might possibly make it worse. It might not. Everybody is different. As you know, I talk about adaptations, but those are some things that I see as kind of the main red flags and also the pros. There is a forum on Concept 2 where some people have fused ankles and they row on the water and they're looking for alternatives. And I actually have it pulled up for you. But this guy, so there's a company called Shimano that does a pivot system, and they're basically this footplate and these shoes, and you have to get that footplate and these shoes. They're kind of like bike shoes. But you put this into the boat. So when you're rowing in a boat, you're not choosing your shoes are connected to the boat like a footplate. So this is a system that basically, you'll see right here, it allows for a lot more movement. In this pivoting system, there have been reports of people who have fused ankles finding this to be a lot more comfortable. And all they did was, you can see he kind of showed how he put this together, and he just contacted them and asked them they demo their system on the Concept 2 rower at like conventions and things, and at not just conventions but also like races. So if you reach out to them, which is what he did, he just asked for how they did it, and you can see here, and I'll put the link to this below, that he kind of just demoed exactly what he did, and he shows like some cons. You'll see that this actually raises you up, but the cons, any rowing machine isn't going to also raise your feet up, so it's changing the position of your knees, your hips, your ankles. It's changing the positions of things because the seat height is different from the foot height now, and depending on your rowers, some rowers already have that difference, which I talk about, where I'll put a link, and I'll put a link below, but I talk about it in those videos, how those heights and different machines, and that might be something you want to consider when you're purchasing a machine. But he decided to kind of raise the seat to make it equal, to make it a little bit more comfortable. But then if you read a little bit further, they basically talk about how this might actually be movable down, but he didn't notice till after he did this part. So that's something that you might be able to do. So I hope that this helps. All in all, it could be good, it could not be. It really depends on what's going on with you. And are you really like trying to compete, trying to improve your power? Are you just going for movement? Are you going for some cardio? If you're just going for that relaxing movement, these rowers that have the pivoting system like this might be fantastic. If you're going for competing or PRs or really trying to improve your power and your strength, this may not be the best option. All right, I hope this helps. Let me know if you've got questions as usual. Again, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and see you in the next video.